And welcome back here to Long Beach after a short little break after the crazy finish to the F3 race. We'll see what F1 has in store here around Long Beach. They've never, I guess even the F3 cars no matter, but F1 has never come to at least this variation of Long Beach. This track used to be on the calendar for the United States Grand Prix West many years ago at a slightly different configuration, but now, at least in the sim, we'll have the F1 cars return here to the streets of Long Beach here. We're going to cut to the track as qualifying underway here just 3 minutes into our session, where we will take the top 15 drivers on to the next phase of qualifying for Q2. But as we started so far, Danilo Sanfilippo up on top of the timesheet.
Yeah, no surprise there. The Sanfilippo guys have really done a great job the last couple of weeks getting the max points for their team. I believe, trying to see the constructors' points aren't updated for me, and I know they're at the top. They're they're first and third in the drivers' standings with about 147 points, I believe. The only one separating them is Ben Fuller there, which I don't know if Ben Fuller's here. He showed up for 3 races, 3 wins, and that's all he needed. But these Sanfilippo bros really taking over the standings right now. They were top 2 last week, and they're going to try to do it again because Danilo has got that same fast pace that he had at Suzuka and also in Spain, Catalonia, as he puts down a 101.6. The only driver right now to put down a 101. We might see close to 1 minute flat laps here by the end of today.
Yeah, I'm really curious if we see someone break the 1 minute mark. That would be absolutely amazing, because these guys are lapping around here quicker than they do at Austria in the modern F1 cars with all the downforce they have, which is insane. It almost makes you wonder, in a modern F1 car, they probably would be braking below a minute, because those cars are significantly faster. But Danilo's going to be happy with his lap. Cody Sandwith currently at the start of qualifying up into second place for him. Very good effort so far. He's only gained a few points, got some at Monza and a few more at Catalonia. We'll see if he can continue that climb forward. Oh, as he goes flying into turn 9. Goes flying into the wall. He's got to bring it to the side and start another lap. Now, Marco Sanfilippo just came across the line. He's gone up to the top of the timesheets.
It's a 101.489, not too much faster than his teammate, only by about a tenth. But those drivers, yet again, this team separating themselves from the rest of the pack. No one even close to them right now. 7/10 back to Cody Sandwith, and it's really going to be tough to beat these 2 drivers today if they're already hot lapping at the top of the board. As for this qualifying round, I think for now there's only 18 drivers in the session, so I think we're only going to see 3 drivers eliminated. So there might not be as much pressure on these guys to put down lap after lap, other than just for practice.
Yeah, and I think definitely the top 5 with the low amount of cars we have, as you're saying, at the moment, I think they can kind of sit easy, knowing that they got some decent times on the board. And again, still got to wait for a few more guys pinch to come in and also put down some times. Gonna look at any other big surprises as far as the order is concerned. Garrido having a pretty solid qualifying effort so far at the moment, currently sitting in 5th place. And I was going to be interested in seeing if we were going to have more cars, because it would make qualifying just that much more harder on such a tight track like Long Beach.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see if we get some more drivers. I'm trying to look at I'm not sure if I've ever seen Benjamin Lindsay in any of these races. Up there in the 4th position, a 102.43, a very solid lap. Not sure if I've seen him before, so might be a really good debut for him, because I haven't seen him yet, so we'll see. Try to keep pace with that, but I think this must be his debut of some sort.
Yeah, debut for TNT Racing is what we have him listed as. His teammate to Charlie Bass, I believe. I think he might be filling in for Thomas Zeker is normally the driver for TNT Racing. Not sure if they had a driver swap temporarily, or if this is going to be a permanent change. I'll have to see, but he's the teammate for Bass, who I saw in back 9th place in the 94 car.
A decent run for that. Hopefully it's good enough to get him in. I love the TNT Racing, their livery that they have. I think it's nice. I think it's definitely one of the best on the track right now. Is Lindsay's actually going to shut down his lap, let Danilo by, maybe try to get some draft. I think those liveries are just sweet as he knocks some cones around.
Silvio Brizola also notable color splash up on the up on the standings. Noted there aren't a lot of the guys that have some of the more flashy colors just are not here at the moment. So the color palette looking really dull, except for the nice shade of blue by Silvio Brizola, currently sitting in 8th place. And this is also another thing too, with less cars on the track, it gives a lot more guys, especially in the back part, that run a little bit more towards the back part of the order or midfield, a chance to get points. So this is going to be a big day to make sure that you don't make mistakes. Are you at a track where the mistakes, so the chances of, are so high, as we see in the F3 race?
Yeah, like you said, the F3 race, almost every driver made a mistake. Even a leader might have made a little bit of a mistake with lap traffic. It's just so precise. You can't mess up at all or else you're in the barrier, because it's not like you spin and you're in the grass and you get it going again. If you spin, you're probably going into a wall or the tire barrier and your race is probably done, and it's going to be really tough to recover. So you have to be absolutely perfect today.
Guys cannot make any mistakes here in the Williams FW31. Speaking of Williams, it's kind of ironic that we're driving this car, no longer being family owned in F1. I do hope at the very least they keep the sorry, not the F1 name, the Williams name in the team.
How about like last week, maybe an F1 in the real life F1? Maybe we see a surprise winner here today, Pierre Gasly. How about that? I mean, that was unbelievable.
That race was awesome to just see unfold, and great for Gasly too, as everyone's been saying too. He's been through so much in the last few months. It was a nice feel-good race. Everyone was happy with the result, I would think, except for probably McLaren and Sainz. And yes, Lewis for not getting a win, but Lewis will most likely get a win here at Mugello tomorrow.
Yeah, it definitely won't be Ferrari, unfortunately, as that's unfortunate. I wonder if Minotto's gone. I guess he's not gone yet. Also, the news of Vettel going to
Aston Martin?
Yeah. Aston Martin, just all sort of things falling into place that you didn't think they'd fall into.
Yeah, absolutely. And even for this series, too, with McLaren MP4-30 getting a big update, it makes the car really fun to drive. Some potential talks of that being the new car for these drivers for next season. Just some rumblings, not nothing official or anything. That's what some guys were talking about, because the car
sources say.
Yeah, because the car is actually drivable now in race conditions, and especially too, we consider the fact that you can now change tire compounds, and it would work perfect for this series. Having knockout qualifying being set up be fantastic to watch. So I do hope that that change is made. And also in chat mentioned too, Leclerc though, even for Ferrari, what there was, somehow got P5. I was actually kind of amazed to see him there. But I guess it is a circuit that doesn't really require engine power. So I guess that's kind of partly why they did so well.
Yeah, that is probably the big reason why they did so well. So I'm trying to look at some of the drivers. Flavio Clavati hasn't put a lap down. Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez also hasn't put a lap down. Gonzalez Rodriguez might be new too. I'm not quite sure if I've seen him. HIT Hit Racing with Xavier Boer, their teammates. I don't think he's scored points. I'm not sure if he's even raced before. So those two drivers still haven't yet to put a lap down. Xavier Boer is actually the other driver. He's actually the last driver on time, so he's probably the first one out, I believe, other than the two drivers who just haven't put a lap down.
Yeah, and also I'll take a chance here. Possible. Not correct, actually. I was trying to see if we can find someone near the start finish line, but I think we might as well go on with Danilo Sanfilippo and just ride on board with an F1 car putting around here at Long Beach. Team coming flying through the final part of the track. And we can make the turns to the hairpin. We'll bring up the onboard graphic as well. How fast these cars are. The F3 cars are doing around 1 minute 14, 1 minute 15. These guys going almost, again, as we mentioned earlier, into the 1 minute bracket. As we see Danilo Sanfilippo flying down the front straightaway, heading to turn one at almost 200 miles an hour. Barely keeps it off the wall. Then look how fast these guys are going through the fountain section. Very tight, but able to keep it just off the walls. Now heading through the double right-hander. Again, gotta avoid the curbs on the right-hand side, and the tire barriers off to the left. The car bouncing up and down over just really the track itself. Now hard into the left-hand tire. You can hear the tire screaming for a grip. Into another right-hander here, heading through turn 8. Now through the back straightaway down towards turn number 9, heading up through the gears. Nearing another 300 kph. Down deep in the brakes into turn 9, which has caught up many drivers in F3. Flying through the last few corners and into the hairpin he will go. And that will complete a lap here at Long Beach in an F1 car. It flies by in literally a minute.
Literally a minute. I wouldn't say this track absolutely compares to Monaco, but one way I could compare it to Monaco is that it's a fast lap. When you're on board with someone, it's a hot lap that will absolutely take your breath away. They got the barriers right next to you, just barely avoiding a wreck all the time. It is just a rush to see a hot lap like that.
Yeah, and especially because these guys pushing near the front, they're going to have to keep this up for almost an hour. It's going to be a very tall task just on the drivers to just keep the pace up. There's not much time to really breathe here, except really on some of the straightaways, and even those are not really too long. As Marcus Sanfilippo trying to one-up his teammate, only 73 thousandths off of Danilo's time, but not going to matter really for these guys. They're definitely going to be on through to Q2. Looking more back at the battle for 15th, really, is where we're going to see the cutoff for Q2. Don Day currently sitting in 15th place, and his time stands as a 1 minute 6.1. In behind him, trying to chase that down, is Xavier Bora in the 666 number machine. He actually comes flying across the line, I think, to start a lap.
See if he can do anything. Everyone else, other than Don Day, and the 103s are better, so those two drivers really have a lot of time to gain. It's going to be a race to gain for these two, how much to see who gains the most time, because they obviously got at least about 2 or 3 seconds on the board. They're leaving it out there, so whoever finds it first is going to be the one who's in with 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, we finally got Flavio Cavati and also Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez out on the track. Rodriguez still sitting in the pits, but Cavati out for his lap. I think took him long enough.
Yeah, it might have just been trying to prepare his car for something here. Probably just really trying to maybe get it dialed, maybe get himself dialed in more than anything. We'll see what kind of lap he puts down. I assume he's going to go top 15. We'll see here, but you never know. He's actually going to shut that lap down here. Maybe let people by. No, he's just going to absolutely just 100% reset it. No, he is going to go let people by. I don't know what he's doing.
And there you see Alberto Rodriguez's car on the track, but the driver not in the cockpit, so not sure if Rodriguez is electing to start from the back. I mean, I guess he might as well try to get up inside the top 15, but I think might just be happy starting from the back of the field. Maybe might sense some danger coming into the race, especially through the fountain section. That's going to be, we need to watch these first few laps very carefully through the fountain section, especially that big pile we saw in F3. After we thought, you know, maybe they're going to be all right, but we have that big pile that took up many cars and have a very solid chance of doing so here in F1 if these guys aren't careful. But there's Xavier Bora again trying to improve his time to get through to Q2. Flavio Cavati, he's starting his lap right on board with the 71 car.
We'll see how smooth his lap is compared to the San Filippo's. Easy on the curb there, not getting too close to the walls here. Gets really close to that fountain, though, as you have to do. Just really getting close, right on edge every single corner of this track. Watch those curbs on the right yet again. Not getting really close to the tire barriers over there. So not maximizing his speed, but definitely still looking like a decent lap. That should put him somewhere in the mid-pack of the board. That should be good enough. Mid-pack right now should be a good enough to get him into Q2, so we'll see how that happens. Looks like he has some really good pace through turn 8 there, and he's got a long straightaway to think about his right-hander entrance here.
Yeah, and there's a not too terribly long, though. Finally, the turn coming up on him. Took it very conservatively, considering we've seen a lot of the guys swing out left up near the wall. Then now through the hairpin. So Cavati, his first lap, we'll see how it is here. It's not going to be particularly fast here. Still got some distance to the line. Looks like it's going to be in the 1 minute 4s. Indeed, it's going to be 1 minute 4.2 for Cavati. It's going to put him exactly in 15, so it's going to be good enough, at least for now, to transfer on through. Xavier Bora has also put down a decent time for himself. He's moved on into, I'm trying to see if we can pull it up here.
16th.
Yeah, with a 1 minute 6.1. So Don Day going to move all the way back outside the cutoff, and Bora only went faster by 26 thousandths of a second ahead of Don Day, so very close between those two drivers. So we'll see if Day's going to get back out on the track and try to improve his time. Still not seeing Rodriguez get back out there. Some of the gap's pretty close between some drivers. Stevenson Vieira, notably teammate to Flavio Cavati, or should be to Flavio Cavati. Although the paint team is a little bit different, they are both part of F1 APS Silver.
Yeah, paint team's definitely similar here. I'm trying to see if Cavati has anything left. Maybe to put a better lap. Xavier Bora, Don Day, they didn't put down the best of laps, but they can definitely still improve for sure. So Cavati's got to get some more security here. A 104.784 last time by is not going to be able to get him any more security. Got a couple more tenths to the next driver, Steven Grabowski, so he's got to gain a couple more tenths here to really try to secure his spot in Q2.
He's coming out of the pit, speaking of which, so he's get back out on the track and continue on as the final few drivers I think are going to be coming back on this track to just ensure, giving themselves insurance to make it on to Q2. Again, it's going to be very valuable gaining some spots here. I definitely think passing is going to be coming at a premium here. It's such a narrow circuit, and risky getting up to speed. I'll look at some other notables. Cara Flumster, admin for this series, one of the admins for The other being Jason Siemens, running pretty well. Has yet to score on the points, if I'm not mistaken. He's currently sitting in 13th. This could be a very nice day for him to get some solid points. Other admin for the series, Jason Siemens. He has had some signs of greatness, especially at Suzuka, but had spin in that later part of that race took him out of the points. Didn't come out of anything there. Oh, as he goes, wow.
In the opening, nice, convenient.
You know, they say if you leave up, a hole in the track or in the wall, at least the driver's going to hit it somehow. They'll find a way. There you saw Siemens proving that true.
Oh, man. Meanwhile, Don Day just actually crashed out of his qualifying. He still needs to gain a lot of time to get into the top 15. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. He's going to have to go out soon. 2 minutes to go for Xavier Bora, Don Day, Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez. So these guys are... I don't think Gonzalez Rodriguez is going to get on the track here. Don Day's out of the car right now, so we'll see if anyone even makes an attempt to get into the top 15.
Pretty much most of the guys in the top 7 are fine. I think if anything, they're getting more practice here. We're looking at Charlie Bass in the 94 machine. Working his way on through inside the top 10 should be good. The gap between himself and the time in 15th place is almost 2 seconds, so I want to say he's good with that, but you can never be too sure in situations like this. But Bass going to come flying out of the final corner. For him, it's going to be a lap time of 1 minute nothing, because that was the start of a lap.
There's probably a minute at least. We'll give that to him. It's a minute at least, and it's going to be no lap. Okay. What you don't want to do is destroy the primary.
Yeah, and luckily, at least for these guys, they have unlimited cars. I'm sure actual F2-1 team would like that. It was another car goes flying into the barriers. A lot of guys missing their braking point in turn 1.
A lot of guys having issues in a lot of these corners. You're going to have to limit those mistakes. If you don't have any mistakes, if you just keep the car on the circuit and in one piece, you're probably going to be in for a points finish. That was the case in F3. We'll see if that's the case again. So just keeping the car on track and out of trouble should get you a really good finish here.
More with Mr. here as he's working through the later parts of Q3. Oddly enough, none of the guys outside of the bubble are on the track, so they're not going to have enough time to get back out. So we're pretty much looking at our top 15 as they run. So Limper out of Q1. I guess kind of how it is in real life. You kind of expect, the Williams and then maybe 2 or 3 of the Ferraris coming out in Q1. So somewhat predictable coming out of here. Just surprised to not see Alberto Rodriguez out on the track. It's showing that he is in the server, so he's just
shows he's in the car. I don't know. Maybe he's having connection issues of some sort. Because I know he definitely wants to be on the track, but I'm not sure about that. As Flemster I don't think he improved. Flemster did 103.998, definitely not a better lap. So yeah, that's your top 15 right there. A little anticlimactic, but it'll probably get more heated in the top 10, because I don't think anyone really wants to be in the mid pack. So trying to get into the Q3 to get higher up out of the mid pack is going to be important.
We look here further down the order. Only 3 drivers getting eliminated from Q1 for this race. Xavier Bora in 16th, Don Day in 17th, and Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez back in 18th. Only 3 drivers getting eliminated. Everyone else will have a chance to move on. As you're saying, Q2 going to be a lot more interesting, so definitely stay tuned for that, as we're going to take a little bit of a break, get set up for the next session, and we'll be right back shortly. And welcome back to Long Beach here, just about to get underway for the start of Q2 here. Again, we're going to go from 15 drivers that moved on from Q3, which was majority of the field. We'll see them now get cut down to 10. Well, Q2 is officially underway for these drivers. Actually, I forgot to load the theme here. I was sitting here thinking I was all ready to go. Just give me 1 second. Get the theme loaded up. The driver's coming out of pit road now.
I'm surprised they're all coming out grouped up with each other. This is not a track you really want to draft off someone. It's more of a track you want to be absolutely by yourself and alone. So I'm interested to see how this works, as pretty sure Grabowski almost already went into the barriers. Now he saved it. I wouldn't think you want to be packed up, but a lot of these drivers going out, at least 3 or 4 of these drivers going out with each other. Grabowski, Carlos Cateau, and Corey Whiting.
Yeah, Monza, this is not, I think it's safe to say here.
No, we're not seeing, I don't think we're going to see 3 wide down the straightaway in qualifying as we saw at Monza. That was very exciting. I think that was that with Kyle? I'm not sure.
No,
I think that was with Kyle.
I think that was with me. I think,
was that with you?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I couldn't remember because you weren't reacting to it. I just remember there was some interesting hijinks during qualifying there at Monza.
Oh no, I was reacting to it alright. Yeah, that was insane. They were like racing down the front straightaway to get to turn 1. That was wild.
It worked. I don't think it worked out, but it's definitely not something you're going to see here today. No, not at all.
I'm pretty sure I think they crashed out, although got damaged with one another, so they had to reset. But not going to be as interesting in that respect here. But we were talking about it just before we went back live, is just seeing the chance of these guys breaking under a minute here, which is, I think, was in the realm of possibilities. I think we might see these guys get into below 1 minute 1. But 1 minute is going to be tough to ask for, but you never know. It's always kind of thing where these guys, especially near the front, kind of hide their true pace here until the last, until really where it matters most, is running on board with Carlos Cateau working his way around.
We'll see what laps him and his teammate Corey Whiting can put up here. They'll kind of be the first ones to really set the pace here. Grabowski as well. Actually, Grabowski's in the barriers and around and into the wall is actually going to hold up Patrick Woodstrup's time. Woodstrup might have actually gotten into him there, but seems like everyone else gets by okay. So we'll see what kind of pace these 2 teammates right here can put, and see if it's anywhere near competitive for the top San Filippo guys.
Well, the ticker here as Corey Whiting going to come flying across the line to start off Q2. At least the time's coming down. 1 minute 2 for Corey Whiting. For Carlos Cateau, 1 minute 3.2. Not going to go faster than his team. He's going to be off by about a second. Probably best spitting. Both of the drivers going to be sitting in second place. Then we got Danilo Sanfilippo. He comes flying across the line to, I believe, start a lap for him. So we'll see where he's going to end up in the pecking order. Emilio Garrido, he's come flying across the line into 3rd place at the moment.
Yeah, 102 seems like the standard pace where that's kind of going to put you in the mid-pack. And this is a big qualifying session because a lot of these drivers would rather try to qualify up front than rather just be somewhere around 15th to about 8th. You don't want to be in the mid-pack right here. Carl Flemster actually just went wide in the fountain, but he seems to continue fine. You don't want to be in the mid-pack at a track like this because you're just asking to get into a crash. So everyone's going to try their hardest to get up the order for this qualifying session.
Yeah, one driver I'm notably interested in is Cody Sandwich for Team Furlong. He's did a really good job in Q1, ended up 3rd on the charts, and that'll be his best finish in the series so far this season if he can hold on to it. I'm curious to see if that 3rd place is going to stand, if guys just didn't bother going faster than that. But interested in seeing if Sandwich has got the pace here as he's coming flying through the last sector of the track onto the front straightaway. Now up through the gears he will go if he can put down the time even faster than before and put himself up inside the top 3 yet again. From across the line, was it the start a lap? I think it was. Indeed, it was the start a lap.
Yes, it was. Someone who's, I think, might be on a flying lap. I know Danilo Sanfilippo finished his hot lap at 101.503, which I don't think is as fast as we were seeing. Sanfilippo there is the first one to break just into a 1 minute bracket, a 1 minute 668, almost 9/10 faster than his teammate Danilo. So a huge flyer here. He's trying to really solidify his spot in Q3 early.
Yeah, and that was actually pretty easy. I think, maybe if we can make up 6/10, that's going to be tough to ask for when you're already going so fast. Wow, as he almost goes sliding into the tire, bro. Let's go another look at that.
That was almost disaster. He was able to save a car control like that. Look at the car bouncing, and he's able to slide and yet not hit that tire barrier. That was impressive.
Well, one more view here.
You see how much the car bounces there, and he just barely does not hit that tire barrier. Look at the gap there. He probably couldn't fit a piece of paper between those two.
Absolutely. As go back live as Marco coming through the final sector of track. I think might not be able to go faster than that with a few little mistakes here and there. Maybe 1 minute 2 for him this time by, so I think he's gonna maybe come back in and reset, get himself back out there and set another flying lap in. Cody Sandwith, we were riding on board with him earlier, got into the tire barrier as he's coming around now. This is to start another lap for the 32. Still have my eye keen on him. If he can, be one they were talking about, maybe they're being surprise winner. Definitely think that's the chance. Also have a Jason Siemens too sitting third place at the moment. Very good qualifying effort for him.
Yeah, 101.6, really good pace there. It seems like the pace, as we usually see in these qualifying sessions, getting faster and faster. Maybe the 101 is the standard, not a 102. A lot of drivers trying to break into that 1 minute 1 bracket, while the guys setting the fastest laps trying to get into the minute bracket. The Siemens is trying to improve on that lap. Corey Whiting, the only other driver in the 101 bracket with them. Then Grabowski, a 102.2. Is meanwhile, I think Flavio Cavati is the first one in right now with a 102.7. I thought a 102 would be fine, but it seems like it's going to take a lot more than that to solidify yourself into Q3. A lot of these guys are going to have to find a lot more speed.
And Patrick Willstrop again is going to be the man to beat at the moment. 102.7 is the benchmark that Woodchip has set for everyone else to try to get to for that 10th place spot. But he's 2/10 off of that time, and actually Woodstrup coming through the final corner now, as that is I think Siemens or Woodstrup.
That was Siemens, yep.
I know we were looking on board with Woodstrup. That was Siemens. As Woodstrup now comes flying across the line, goes up into 9th.
So 486, not completely solid, but it's definitely going to help him kind of be okay with his lap, although he is going to go out right away for the lap. Flavio Cavati, a 103.596 that time by. That's not going to be good enough, still sitting in 12th. As a lot of guys coming off of pit road. Carl Flemster, one of them, Fernandez Garrido, and Patrick Woodstrup, Corey Whiting rolling right now. Carlos Cato coming around to start his flying lap. Not many other people in danger on track right now. Still waiting for laps from Silvio Brizola, who is on the track right now, and also Benjamin Lindsay, who's coming out of the pits.
And Benjamin Lindsay didn't see a whole lot out of him in Q1. A decent run, but now we're going to see if he can make it on to Q3. Currently, it's going to be Charlie Bass sitting in the top 10 spot at the moment. So he can get the second car for TNT Racing into Q3 and inside the top 10 here. Goes flying through the curbs.
Lucky not to destroy the car there, as he's able to hold on. Really trying to get some heat in those tires for that one big hot lap you're trying to put together here. Just don't destroy the car on the way there.
Trying to see both the San Felipe drivers up in front. Looks like they've pulled off for now. They may see them back out there just to maybe warm up a Q3 one, but I can imagine those guys are definitely going to be good with a time under a 1 minute 1. No one else is really close to them. Siemens, his time is 7/10 off of Diddle's time. With a 1 minute 0.8, so a lot of time to be made up for the rest of the field. We see if they can get it done, but the top two seem to be in their own class. Very similar to Mercedes in that respect.
Yeah, I'm not very surprised that these two are way in front of the pack right now. The full second in front of Jason Siemens is Marco Sanfilippo, which, like I said, is not surprising. The absolutely blistering pace from these two teammates again, as Cody Sandwith tries to join the party at 1 minute 1.114. Not good enough to get to the minute bracket, but he's definitely showing some true pace here.
Yeah, really solid time for Sandwith, showing the pace he gave off in Q1. Looks like that is still there with him going into Q2, so that should be another time good enough to move on forward. Oliveira now, he's coming through the middle part of the track to see where some of the other guys are. Flemister, he just come across the line recently. He put down a 1 minute 2.8. His fastest time at the moment, but still not good enough to move himself inside the top 10. Fabio Clavati also in the middle part of the track. Looking at Benjamin Lindsay, he's coming through the final sector now. Is this a warm-up or is this a flyer?
I think this might be a flyer. Yes, it is, and it's a good one too. A 1 minute 1.193
Wow.
puts him P4 on the board, showing some muscle here in Q2. Put him fourth on the board. As meanwhile, it's Silvio Brizola also was the second to last driver to put down a lap. He only ran a 122, so he's going again here.
It puts pressure on Patrick Woodship. Oliveira is he comes across the line now. He's gonna put down a 1 minute. Not at the moment. I think he's warming up for a lap now.
Warm up lap. Yep. I think that was a warm up lap. Trying to see who's next across the line. Corey Whiting, a 107.5. Definitely not going to improve with that. Next person across the line, Carlos Cato, who's on the bubble here with a 102.406, trying to improve, give himself some security, and he's not able to do that. Only a 102.9. Patrick Woodshop, a 103.2, also not good enough. A lot of these guys starting to search for time, and their time's running out. Only 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And Corey Whiting into the wall as well, so he's gonna end his run there at the moment. Grabowski, he's I think come back out onto the track. What he can do? He actually put down a 1 minute, 1 minute 1.3. But I assume that lap was not clean, so he's gonna, so might have the pace. Can you check for me? That was maybe him coming out of the pits or something, or that was actually his lap.
Grabowski definitely doesn't show that on the board. I'm not sure.
It was said in his last lap that he set out, but it wasn't a clean one.
I see. It's interesting. I'm not sure. I don't see where he would have ran the lap. I'm not sure if that's legit, but I wouldn't be surprised. He always seems to have decent pace everywhere he goes. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ran that lap, but I'm not sure where he ran that. He's definitely trying to duplicate that lap if he did run it. Carlos Catoa, 102.667. Again, not improving, not giving himself any security. And that's what Grabowski's trying to do right now, trying to have some security. I've just noted this, by the way. Steve Grabowski, he has the same exact time as Charlie Bass, the 102.238 on the board, right next to each other. And as I say that, I'm pretty sure. No, Charlie Bass didn't improve. Both these drivers still have the same exact time on the board for now.
Yeah, and Bass, you can see how close he was to passing. His time was only a few thousandths off. But the time's still going to remain dead equal. You can see right there again on the right-hand side. Best lap, 102.238. 102.239 is what it shows on ATVO. Well, that's essentially the same lap.
Yeah, it shows the same on iRacing. It's basically the same. It's just crazy how precise you have to be at a track like this, and they're still pulling off the lap times that's similar to each other. It's Carl Flemster, 102.448. Improvement, but not good enough to get into the top 10, just a few hundredths off of Carlos Cato here.
And trying to look at some other drivers coming on through here towards the line.
Cato actually just improved a 102.126. That puts him up to P8, and that puts Charlie Bass and Steven Grabowski on the cut line. I'm not sure what they would do about that if they fell on the cut line together, but we might be able to see that here shortly.
Yeah, I'm guessing with the way they're ordered that Bass has the slightly faster time, and I say slightly by nearly a hair, a fraction of an inch. Faster than Grabowski, so yeah, as you're saying, they are getting very close. Really don't think anyone could kind of split them. So I guess if one's gonna get past, both are gonna get past because they don't. So it's gonna go few hundred thousandths of a second faster. Split them both. We'll have to see here as the guys working through the final stages of qualifying here. Just got a little over a minute remaining here. Taking a look at where everyone is on the track. Most of them on the back part, and Silvio Brazola, he's coming across 1 minute 19. Him not gonna be anywhere near good, so he's gonna start a lap is what it looks like for him. Flavio Clavati working on the back stretch. Severson Oliveira, he's bound to head to the back stretch. Woodstrup ahead of both of them, so we'll see here if Woodstrup can. He's been trying to work at it really hard to get a faster lap in, but it hasn't quite found it yet. He's looking to be about 0.3 of a second off of the time to get into Q3. Cross the line for Woodstrup is going to be a 1:3.97, nowhere near good enough for him. You move on through. Flavio Clavati now coming on through with a 1 minute 3.6. Not going to move on through either. Still have another lap to go through as well for these drivers. Severson Oliveira, 102 flat, really. That's good enough to move himself up to 8th.
Yeah, that's good enough right there. So yeah, it's gonna put him in by a good bit. That should be good enough to last for the rest of the session, hopefully. And now we have that dilemma of Bass and Grabowski on the cut line together. They're both still trying to put laps down as everyone is.
Grabowski's actually sitting out, so he's not gonna have a chance to beat his laps. He's gonna be definitely out of the session. Looking at Carl Flemister here, I think he's coming out of the hairpin now. Onto the front straightaway, he will go. Can he put down a faster time? He's going to start a lap barely with 20 seconds remaining.
It Meanwhile, Charlie Bates actually did improve a 102.098, so no tie for that final cutoff. It's Carlos Cateau by himself with a 102.126 on that cut line. He's trying to put down another lap as it's just Cody Sandwith and Flavio Clavati behind him. See if what Clavati puts down. Cateau doesn't improve, might be a hot lap. Clavati puts down also a hot lap, so a lot of these drivers just they're getting their final laps in right at the deaths.
Yeah, clearly right at the very last second here. You got some guys flying around here, as you were saying. Carlos Cateau, Carl Flemister, Woodstrup, and Clavati all on flying laps here. Of these guys who's able to make it on through into Q3. It's going to come down really between these four drivers still outputting lap times down. Is going to be really three of them moving on of the four as Flemister here working through the final sector check. He's going to come flying to the line. We'll see. It's to be his last hurrah if he can finally get into Q3. He's got to make up around 3/10 of a second. 103.25, not going to be good enough. Woodstrup and Clavati now coming through the final sectors of the track. Carlos Cateau also working the hairpin in behind Woodstrup. I think actually Cateau gave up.
And
Woodstrup is out of fuel, I think.
He might have, he kind of gave up to a dirty lap. Not going to get in. I'm kind of surprised by this. I thought Woodstrup would be a bit of a lock, but he's going to be one of the first ones out. Kind of surprised for that, for sure.
And absolutely. With that, we're going to have qualifying, at least for Q2, coming to a close. You can see the top 10, all of them moving on forward into Q3. Not too surprised with the first top of the first 6 or 7 cars. Not too terribly surprised there. Again, Bass and Cateau making it through by the skin of their teeth by only a few hundredths of a second between some of those times. And then moving on through to the drivers eliminated, we have Steven Grabowski eliminated, as well as Carl Flemister, Patrick Woodstrup, Flavio Clavati, and Silvio Brizola being all eliminated here from Q2. We're going to take another quick break and get set up now for the Q3 and pole position shootout. And welcome back live here from Long Beach for the start of Q3. It's going to be the pole position shootout. Now we're really going to see these guys can flex their muscles and potentially get into those coveted times that we've been seeking down below a minute here at Long Beach. Getting ready now to see who's going to also start up on pole. I think it's going to be either probably Danilo Sanfilippo or Marcus Sanfilippo. Don't you think, Connor?
Yeah, I think we can take our picks. I don't know which Sanfilippo you want, but I'll just take the other one. It's definitely between these two, I believe. We might see a surprise. We saw a couple competitive times. Cody Sandwith, Jason Siemens were up there. Benjamin Lindsay also had a decent time, but I just don't think you're gonna come close to just the absolute pace these Sanfilippo boys have. I mean, they've been unbelievable at most of the tracks. They were really strong at Monza, really strong at Suzuka, obviously 1-2 in Spain a few weeks back. I think these guys are really unbeatable right now.
Looking at Corey Whiting here as he comes onto the front straightaway. He's going to start his lap and lead everyone down to start their laps as well in behind him. See where he's going to end up here at the end of qualifying. I am really curious to see we kind of know who's going to be on the top two steps of the podium, but who's going to be that third step is going to, I think, be the interesting part of this race here. We'll see. And even the top two steps aren't guaranteed. We've seen Marco and Danilo make mistakes here and there throughout the season so far, so anything's up for grabs at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely no guarantees. You just really have to stay out of trouble. It might not be about sheer pace here today. Having the speed might help, but if you don't keep your car clean, it obviously doesn't matter. As like you said, those Sanfilippo guys have made mistakes here and there. Not big mistakes, not everywhere, but we definitely have seen it in the past. Maybe we see it today. It's gonna, like we said, all about keeping the car on track. But if you can keep the car on track, these guys are going to lap a lot of cars, and it's going to be between these two for sure. And that third driver, you never know. That third driver, whoever gets third on the podium is able to challenge them right away for those top two spots. Might put enough pressure on them to force them into a mistake. We'll have to see here.
Yeah, we'll see for Danilo Sanfilippo. Expect to be him really quick and going to put a time faster than what we saw in Q2. Just by only a few thousandths of a second with a 1 minute .6 for Danilo. So we'll see here now. Marco Sanfilippo, he's going to be coming through the hairpin now if he can improve. I really think these are one of the two cars we expect to see break that 1 minute bracket, if anything. Flying across the line for Marco, going to be just faster, almost into below 1 minute .6, but it's going to be 1 minute .6.5. Sorry, 1 minute .605 for Marco Sanfilippo.
Yeah, obviously those guys right on top of each other, and 7/10 or so in front of Corey Whiting, who's third with a 101.3. So once again, flexing our muscles, showing that they're just that much faster than the rest of the field. Still waiting for Benjamin Lindsay and Siemens and all those other guys to get on the track. Esteban Oliveira, that lap didn't count. More drivers coming out of the pits right now. The next driver to come out of a turn to complete a lap is, I think, Benjamin Lindsay, as we'll see here if this counts. No, it does not, so it's another hot lap to set up. Carlos Cateau comes across the line again. 102.214 is still last out of everyone who's taking a time. Back in 7th, as Cody Sandwith goes with a 102.003 in 6th. He's actually going to go wide and shut that lap down.
Yeah, and also want to take another point here to talk about Benjamin Lindsay as he's working on his lap. You were talking about a surprise for, maybe being up in the top. Benjamin Lindsay pulled out a really solid time. We were sleeping on him for a little bit, so he could be one to, battle potentially with Sandwith for that final step of the podium, and maybe even more. I had to see if he's got any more pace in that 81 machine again for Team Racing. Joined with Charlie Bass, who's also sitting inside Q3 at the moment, is currently sitting in 5th place as Lindsay working through the final sector of the track.
I didn't notice they had different liveries as well. For some reason, their cars are just slightly different. But either way, both of their liveries look pretty cool, and they both stick out on the steps of the podium when they get up there, which is, I guess, key. Lindsay's coming across the line to complete his lap, and he goes to the top of the board once again, showing his pace, a 1 minute 3:18, showing them what is worth right there. What a lap. He's going to keep going, try to improve on it.
Yeah, what a fantastic lap as well. So we're going to see this get a lot more closer. And I'm sure for Marco and Danilo, because again, I don't think we've seen Lindsay before. I'm not sure if he's been in the practice sessions for these guys or what have you, but this has really stepped up the ante here for these guys. A lot on stake here, especially for Marco and Danilo. They're thinking, maybe they can walk away with an easy 1-2 out of Long Beach, but Benjamin Lindsay's gonna put his money where their mouth is, because he's going really, really quick, and we'll see if he can even improve that with this next lap.
I don't know if Marco and Danilo are stunned, but I think I'm definitely stunned a little bit. I didn't see that time coming out of Ben Lindsay at all. Danilo, I think he's either starting or ending his lap. I'm not quite sure, but these guys might be a little shocked to see someone in front of them for that pole position. A track like this, where track position is so key, it is going to be vital to get that pole position. As Danilo Sanfilippo across the line doesn't improve. So if Benjamin Lindsay can get this pole away from these two teammates, this is going to be vital in winning this race.
I was thinking that we might see one of these two guys walk away with it, but it's going to be something completely different. We're definitely going to have a race on our hands here for this event. I also want to look at Cody Sandwith too. I was expecting to see him.
Just crashed.
Yeah, he just crashed as you were saying, and he's putting in some decent times, 1 minute 2, but we've seen him go closer to a 1 minute flat. So didn't see he'll step up the pace here and also join near the top of the board. Interesting to see what he's got on the table for these drivers. Trying to see who else is out here as well. Jason Siemens, he's actually just come across the line now. Put in a 1:16.8, so he's going to be starting his flying lap now.
Esteverson Oliveira, 1:02.157, still last out of everyone who's taken a time back there in P9. Marco Sanfilippo coming across the line to start his lap, so we'll see if he has any sort of answer for Ben Lindsay. Can he respond to that hot lap?
The sector time is up here for these drivers. Kind of have an idea now of where these guys need to be as far as sector times are concerned. A decent first sector for Marco. Might not be enough to beat Lindsay, but definitely improve his time. We'll see here through the second sector how well he's going to do. I think we've seen times around here around 24 seconds, 25 seconds through sector 2. Marco works onto the back straightaway now. Is narrowly avoiding the tire barriers, and it's looking more and more likely that we might break under a minute here. 25.2 for Marco.
Definitely running out of time for them to get there. We only have 3 minutes to go, so if any of those guys have an answer for Ben Lindsay here, they're gonna have to show it now.
For Marco, bearing down at the line, he's gonna barely get across. 1 minute 3. Oh, he's gonna get pulled by. Barely, no, but did it not count?
No, it did count. A 1 minute .332, just 14 1,000th of a second slower than Ben Lindsay. Just not enough for the pole.
The initial time that showed up was actually quicker by 3,000ths of a second than Lindsay's time, but the iRacing, it got corrected on our scoring software to just being 14,000 slower. Danilo Sanfilippo, he's coming out of the final corner now. He's going to be starting a lap this time by.
We'll see what he has in store. Only 2 minutes left in the session, so this is pretty much going to be his final run. So he's probably going to do 2 laps here and hope one of them is good enough for that pole position. Marco Sanfilippo trying to keep putting laps down, barreling cones down through the right-hander here, as he might be gearing up for one more run. As you got to reset if you want fresh tires, because he got nothing else. He's going to try to get the best run he can out of that hairpin up to the line for his final run for a hot lap.
Here comes Marco now with a great run at the line. Even with that much he's slowed down in Sector 3, still put on a pretty solid time, 1 minute 2. Oh, slowing down. Uh-oh.
He might be trying to reset. It's a minute lap, so if he goes now, he could still get another lap in as he's going to try. It's going to be tight. He's only going to have 1 lap to do it.
I'm actually kind of surprised because typically we've seen these guys continue for 2-3 lap runs, which you don't see much longer in modern F1 with the way the tires are. But remember, this is with the old Bridgestone tires. These are built a little more sturdy, a little bit more hardy, considering this car was ran in 2009. So, you know, the tires take a little bit to warm up. You can run a few laps on them before you really start to see significant wear. So I'm kind of surprised that it reset. We'll see that's going to improve him, but now he can't afford to make a mistake on this out lap or his timed lap, because there's a lot at stake. Meanwhile, Danilo Sanfilippo, he came on through, put a 1 minute 1.2, didn't go faster for Lindsay. He's coming, he came flying across the line, didn't improve his time as well, but we'll start a hot lap now.
Marco and Danilo still trying to find something. One on cold tires, the other on kind of heated tires. Danilo trying to make something happen, really sliding through a couple of these corners. I'm not sure if it's going to happen for him, but he's definitely pushing the car to the absolute max. So we'll see if he can pick up those 3/10 and get up to his teammate and Ben Lindsay. Coming to the end of Q3 here, and everyone's going to be coming to their final lap. I don't think Sanfilippo's going to have a chance to get across the line for one more chance. So this is going to be it for him. See what kind of lap he puts down here. For
Danilo across the line, it's going to be 1 minute 3.47. and didn't count for him, unfortunately, as you're saying, so he's going to have to settle for third place. Meanwhile, Marcus Sanfilippo, he was able to start a time. We'll see if he can improve. And Benjamin Lindsay is actually going to give up his qualifying attempt, so he's going to have to settle for the time he has now. Definitely not going to be guaranteed for pole position. We'll see now Marcus Sanfilippo if he has got enough pace. He's just 14 thousandths of a second behind Lindsay. If he can just find even a 200th of a second, that would be good enough for pole. We'll see here. Marcus Sanfilippo working through turn number 9, now working through turns 10 and turn 11. Into the hairpin he will go. Gonna set up nicely for a run down the front straightaway. Is this time gonna be good enough for pole position? Coming, bearing down at the line. It is not going to be good enough. Benjamin Lindsay will hold on for pole position for Grand Prix here at Long Beach.
And that is definitely a shock to me. I thought one of those guys had it for sure, and Ben Lindsay just coming up clutch, kind of shocking the whole entire field here, getting the pole away from the two teammates. And it's going to be vital to have that first starting grid for a track like this. That is huge.
And looking down the rest of the gridding, or trying to see any really big surprises, but I am curious in seeing how close qualifying was, if that's going to transfer in the race. I do hope so, as we have a fairly close top 3. Then it's almost a second group of guys heading down from 4th place onwards. Corey Whiting, Emilio Garrido, Cody Sandwith, Charlie Bass, Carlos Coutin, Severson Oliveira, and Jason Siemens rounding out your top 10 in that order. With that, we're going to take another break, but you're definitely not going to want to miss what's up next, because next we finally have the Grand Prix of Long Beach coming up shortly.
Would you like to have a career in racing, and if so, what would you like to do, Dale?
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday. It's all I've ever known, racing.
What did you want to be when you grew up? So many people live a life of what if. Go to school. Go to college. Get a 9-to-5. This is how we support our dreams, with a safety net. Because we're unsure about taking a leap of faith. Because we're afraid. As we grow, we cross things off our list of dreams. We cut them down, make them realistic. Having control of things is reassuring. But for some, the rush of being out of control is what gives them life. Some say racing cars is reckless. Maybe they're right. Out of bounds isn't just cheating, it's cheating death. Football fields made up in seconds. Decisions made in instants. For the people that climb behind the wheel of these cars, they're not driving it. They become part of it. It's an extension of the body. As a child, I looked up to these people, faces hidden by helmets. The less you saw of the driver, the more believable it became that they were, in fact, just part of the machine. It's easy to forget that inside the cockpit is someone just like us, but with the mindset that fear is a motivation, not a barrier. But the reality is, race car drivers are not like us. They never cross anything off their list of dreams. They just keep writing more. Daytona.
This is the finish of the Daytona 500. Side by side.
Le Mans. Indianapolis. Monaco. Places that used to be just places, now international symbols of victory. To those that enjoy the spectacle of racing, the 2 feet of concrete and steel cables are a wall between us and them, between sitting in the grandstands and standing in victory lane. These same walls are a stark, immovable reminder that racing drivers put their lives on the line for the sake of the thrill and entertainment. Despite the risk, despite the heartbreak, despite the cost. There are some on the sidelines who are fascinated by the danger. They are fascinated by speed, fascinated by the undying desire to be just a little bit better. Their dreams erased by geography, finances, or the lack of a famous last name. There are some who once wished to be a race car driver, but aren't, because they didn't get the chance. And they thought they'd spend the rest of their lives watching their heroes on television, or from the other side of the fence. They thought it was impossible to climb into a race car, so they crossed it off their list. But it's not impossible. There is a ticket to the other side of the fence. For those who want it bad enough, this is your chance.
And unfortunately, iRacing doesn't have Monaco, doesn't have Macau, or doesn't have a lot of the other street circuits around the world. But hey, we got the next two best things, really. One of them being the track we're at today, and that is Long Beach, here on the streets of Long Beach, for the next round of the Formula I World Championship, their Formula One Championship, specifically here. And after a very interesting qualifying session, very close qualifying session, with the top two just being separated by 14 thousandths of a second, I think we're going to have a pretty good race on our hands here. My name is Finity Kuna, here with Connor Horn for the next round of round 6 specifically of the championship. And Connor, looking forward to this one unfolding.
Interesting first couple of laps to see if these guys can order themselves out here. We saw in the F3 race a lot of calamity there early in that one, and even into the late stages of that one, we just saw crash after crash, mistake after mistake, and I'm hoping to see a lot more clean racing here today, but you really never know. With a tight track like Long Beach, we're bound to have a pile-up there, here or there, so and it's going to be really important. Ben Lindsay's upsetting the field a little bit with this pole position. We'll see if he can keep that off the start. So it's going to be interesting to see if those San Filippo guys can do anything on the start here to get the lead back for their team.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they're kind of looking at potentially walking away with the championship in this series here, because of the fact that we've been missing the Manti TQ, I think is what the team got renamed to. The team with Ben Fuller and with I'm trying to remember the other driver.
Tim Matzke,
yeah. That showed up at Monza. Both of them not being here again for another round of the championship, so they're really missing out on a lot of points. And it's fortunate to not see them here to compete with Fertile and Capone Corsa, where both the San Filippo drivers are a part of. But practice ending up here, the warm-up session for these drivers, as we got the race coming at you in just a few seconds. We'll come down to the grid to set your starting lineup. Starting on pole position, Benjamin Lindsay in the front, again joining TNT Racing. Next to Marcus Sanfilippo in second, Danilo Sanfilippo lining up in third, with Corey Whiting in fourth. Milo Garrido starting in fifth, with Cody Sandwith next to him in sixth place.
Then down to order a little bit, Charlie Bass in seventh, Carlos Cato, who barely squeaked into Q3, he's in eighth, Esteverson Oliveira in ninth, Jason Siemens didn't put a lap down on Q3, rounded out that Q3 qualifying event in 10th, Stephen Grabowski 11th, and Carl Flemister back there in 12th.
Moving down the last three rows of the grid, Patrick Woodstrup starting in 13th, Flavio Clavati in 14th, Silvio Brazola in 15th, Zabby Boris 16th, Donde 17th, and Alberto Rodriguez rounding out your grid. Got the lights revved up for these drivers, and we are off and away here for the Grand Prix of Long Beach.
And Lindsay was talking about it in the chat. He's not good at starts, and there he goes, just like that. Right down the order he goes. I think about battling for sixth now, side by side with Emilio Garrido there. And just like that, his pole position there is gone, as there's a bit of contact in that turn one. No big wrecks there. Charlie Bass had some sort of issue there.
Yeah, heading through turn two now, through the fountain section. Big lockup from some drivers. So we make it through in one piece. That was a big concern as well, as we make it through the order. But again, as you're seeing, Benjamin Lindsay all the way back down the order in sixth place after pretty much qualifying. All that went for naught right here after the first half of the lap. But Marco and Danilo Sanfilippo up in the lead. Now they just got to drive away here for the rest of this race to keep off guys like Cody Sandwith and Lindsay from catching him.
Carlos Cato's really slipped down the order. Had a few instances there, side by side with Patrick Woodstrup. They might have been in contact, but he was talking about it in the chat. People in the chat definitely know he was concerned about his race pace, especially concerned about on the initial start, and he definitely just could not get it going. Just really couldn't light those tires up, and he's going to fall back way down in the order as the San Filippo guys kind of take control of this race already.
Yeah, and saying he didn't have a race setup as well. Interesting, that's going to be a factor. Again, he's had some really solid pace. If not, I'm not sure where on earth he got that qualifying setup, because that was pretty good. If it got him pole position, you would think. But trying to work on Emilio Garrido sitting in fifth place. Again, we were talking about with the lack of cars here, most of the normal comers to this series not being here this week. We can see a lot of upsets here. Some guys getting the points that we normally wouldn't see. Speaking of which, some more racing going back down the order as Jason Siemens trying to hound the back of Stephen Grabowski.
Sorry, Emilio Garrido just got into the barrier. Ben Lindsay really pressured him under braking there, and Fernandez Garrido almost went into the barrier. He might have made contact with the barrier. I'm not sure if they made contact with each other, but that was extremely close.
I'll take a look here from Lindsay's point of view. You can see right there. Oh, yeah, tap for Garrido. Wasn't as bad as I thought, but he will continue on. I don't think we'll see him come to the pits. I think we'll just continue on the way the car that it is. Indeed, he will. As we complete the first first two laps of racing, the Marco and Danilo Sanfilippo up in front, breaking away from the rest of the field. Cody Stanwith trying to chase on Corey Whiting for the final step of the podium.
Yeah, and he better battle for it quickly, because if Ben Lindsay shows the same pace, even without a setup, if he shows the same pace with that race setup as he did in qualifying, he's going to get up there to battle for that final podium spot. The race for the win might already be gone unless he can show some true pace or maybe get a bit of luck on his side, but we know he's got the pace whether he's got a setup or not. He's just got to show it here with these two ahead of him.
And Jones being hit by Whiting. You see Sam get very, very close to the tire barriers there. Barely, not hitting them, but getting very close. That's another thing you got to be considerate too. Being at a street course like Long Beach, you have to be careful of these walls. Can easily give you wing damage. You see Sam with a great one. Big dive to the inside of Whiting. Gonna wheel him out of the way. That was an extremely aggressive move and will get the spot.
Definitely showing some muscle there. I usually show a muscle just going faster than the guy, but he showed some muscle with his car there. Maybe a bit of a, not a bump and run, maybe like a front wing and run. Not sure there, but definitely a bit of contact there. I don't know how that will be ruled, but it was definitely an aggressive move, but it got him the spot. Yeah,
and there is some damage to Whiting that he got from the contact. You can see it right there on the right side of the wing. We'll maybe get another shot. The right wing a little bit more jinged up than the left. Kind of hard to tell from the onboard, but it is damaged. So yeah, we'll see if any ruling is done for Sandwith. But he's now got to deal with Lindsay. That didn't take long.
No, it didn't at all. That going side by side in a corner like that is just gonna kill your speed there. It's lost so much time hitting there, getting side by side. Just even if they didn't hit, being side by side in a corner like that just kills you with time wise, and just let Ben Lindsay get all over them. So Lindsay can have a good shot at getting back on that final step of the podium. He almost into a rear diffuser of Sandwith there. Sandwith makes a bit of a gap on the front stretch there. These two not letting up as we got a bit of a battle back there for that 8th position. Charlie Bass and Jason Siemens right next to each other.
Yeah, so you see them starting to snake each other down the straightaway as well. Siemens, he was able to get past Grabowski earlier. That's what I was going to mention that battle. Siemens, a big dart as the Bass goes offline. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a slow down or if you just wanted to let him by. Yeah.
He might have just wanted to let him by. We know... Maybe they know what Siemens is about. We've seen in the past, especially at Suzuka and Monza, I believe, Siemens goes a bit over aggressive. Siemens definitely has the pace to be up there in the points, but there's just sometimes when he makes a mistake or two that just completely derails his race. So maybe Charlie Bass just doesn't want to be a part of that mistake.
Yeah, and we'll see here because Siemens can make up some decent points here. He had solid points finish at Catalunya. I think finished 7th. And now he's going to be up on the back of Oliveira now to get that 7th place spot. We'll see if he can get it done here shortly.
Yeah, he's really trying all over the back of that machine, but he just doesn't seem like he can get the run he needs on the straightaway to do anything. He's trying to get the run in the draft, but I just don't think it's affecting him enough. He's definitely not going to get there in the turn number 1. Really hard to make any sort of passes. Carl Flemister coming out of the pits, not sure what happened there. But we'll see if Lindsay can do anything in one of the other corners. Really, his only realistic spot to pass is turn 1, and it just doesn't seem like, just like in the F3 race with a couple of those guys battling, they just couldn't get the power out of that final turn and make the move into turn number 1. So we'll see where he catches Cody Sandwith to try to make this move.
Yeah, and also looking at the battle, another close battle for 7th place as well. We'll take you back, as you mentioned, Connor, that battle brewing for a 3rd place. As, again, I can imagine Lindsay, he wants to get around Sandwith as quick as possible because they're losing quite a bit of time each lap to the leaders who are pulling away a few tenths a lap at the moment. And there is quite a few laps left in the race, but you're going to want to start early, especially because we don't quite know what Lindsay's pace is in the race. He definitely had some good qualifying pace, but race pace is a completely different story as he's coming on through down the front straightaway. But yeah, just not been able to capitalize on the front straightaway for the making that pass.
Someone who's trying to show a lot of pace right now, Jason Siemens, he's gotten that 8th position, and he's just ran with it right now, trying to get Esteferson Oliveira for that 7th position. Was all over him in a few turns, really charging the corners. Look how much he closes on entry, loses a lot on exit, though. He's really trying to push that car into these corners.
Wasn't able to quite get it done. So
thought he might have tapped the wall there, not quite sure.
Yeah, it always is so close between these drivers, and especially also looking back a little further back. Grabowski trying to catch up to Charlie Bass. Bass has not been running a particularly good race. He's been dropping slowly further and further back after Siemens got past him. Now in the clutches of Grabowski trying to move up to 9th.
Grabowski trying to move a few positions, just barely got bumped from Q2 there. He's trying to make up for that qualifying position. Making good work so far. Only one spot up, but trying to go for a second spot, and got a couple spots, 8th and 7th, not too far up the road, Siemens and Oliveira. So we'll see what kind of pace Grabowski has. Really charges the hairpin. Might have a good run with the draft, the slipstream coming onto the front stretch, but lost a lot on that exit there. As Siemens is trying to do the same with Oliveira, he might have a chance. Not quite though.
Taking a look at some of the other battles going on, you see Siemens trying to work on Oliveira, not quite enough by turn 1, and same thing looking at Bass and Grabowski not able to get it done as well.
You know, while this is going on, Ben Lindsay, I thought he might be able to have a little bit of a charge for third, but Cody Sandwith starting to pull away a little bit from Ben Lindsay.
Yeah, he's just been not on pace with, which is kind of surprising. I would have thought he would have gotten past Sandwith by now, considering the pace he had in qualifying, was showing a decent amount of it in the first few laps, but he's now starting to back off.
Siemens has got a good run now. Silvio Brizola, by the way, has retired from the race. Not quite sure what happened there. Maybe some sort of incident, but he's, I believe, the first driver retired. Carl Flemister is behind him for now, but Brizola is out of the race, so that'll definitely change right now. As these guys are really going at it in this position. Oh, not sure if that's the first he got out of the way. That was Carl Flemister getting out of their way, as that really cost Siemens a lot of time there. Not sure. I think Oliveira barely missed the barrier if he did.
Yeah, he barely missed Flemister, and he barely missed the barrier as well. But yeah, that really hurt Siemens, who was eyeing to make a decent run down the straightaway. Can't quite get it done. Got to sit back there for another lap. Oh, this is really close between Garrido and Corey Whiting. This is for 5th place. So a lot of solid battles going on inside the top 10. Really 3 or 4 to be exact.
The only one that I'm really paying attention to is Oliveira and Siemens, because it could go wrong at any sort of moment with how hard Siemens is charging these corners. Really closes up onto the diffuser. They're trying everything he can to get by Esteverson right now, but just can't complete the pass. Trying to get the run onto these straightaways. He might have a good shot here.
There he goes, getting a great draft down the straightaway. Going to peel out just to the right-hand side and dive into turn 9, and he will get the spot done. Oh, no, it's the wall hard and up and over for Siemens in the middle of the track. There you see Grabowski go on by and Wistrip, his teammate, passing, but for Siemens, another big mistake going to cost him a lot of points. Let's see what happened again. That was looking...
He hopped the curb or something. He dove it in there and hopped the curb.
Oh yeah, you can see there. Then it flipped him up and over. Try to get a little replay going for you guys.
I think Oliveira knew what was going down there. See, he got the good run. He had the position done. He really didn't need to send it as far. Esteverson and Oliveira was basically letting him by because he had the Siemens had the positioning. You see, Siemens just dives in way too far. He's gonna hit the apex way too harshly. Maybe help the cone a little bit or something. I'm not quite sure, but hard into the wall, up and over, and that's stay done.
Yeah, I think he just bottomed out over the curb because, again, it is a raised part of the track. So I think the car just bottomed out and skated across, and again, just that corner is extremely tight as it is, and went straight on into the wall. So unfortunate for him. Checking back with the race leader, Marcus Sanfilippo is putting on a clinic as he's chasing away from Danilo, who had a very poor last lap with a 1:06. And that's brought him into the clutches of Cody Sandwith and Benjamin Lindsay. So it's now a 3-horse race for 2nd place.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what corner he messed up. I think it was about maybe turn 6. He just completely overshot it. Danilo did. Almost lost that 3rd position to Cody Sandwith, but he was able to keep the car under him and get that position back and try to pull away again. But Marco Sanfilippo is definitely the class of the field yet again. He is gone from his teammate.
Yeah, and actually close to matching his qualifying. Actually, not really close to matching qualifying performance, but it's the fastest car on the track by a milestone. With a 1:07, no one else has broken the 1:02s yet in the race so far. As you look at Danilo leading over Sandwith, and then Benjamin Lindsay. And this can actually help out Lindsay here because now Sandwith is in some dirty air.
Yeah, and that checkup, he tried to get by Danilo, and Danilo didn't let it happen. That really checked up Cody Sandwith back to Ben Lindsay. I don't think Lindsay's going to really have any sort of chance to get by him here unless something happens, but it definitely helped that 81 get back up into the fray. He's trying to see if there's any more battles going on. Corey Whiting kind of, maybe possibly getting chased down by Emilio Fernandez.
Oh, yeah,
Garrido,
this has
right
been
next to each other, battle for 5th here.
Yeah, this has been going on for a while. Garrido's been hounding the back of Whiting to no avail. Whiting's
Sandwith just went into the barriers. His car might be destroyed. He just really hit the barrier in one of the right-handers.
It looks like he's able to get away decently, and steering seems to be somewhat straight. Take a look, though, at what happened to him just recently. Coming out of the fountain section here, I imagine probably on the... Oh, yeah, just went straight on. Ooh, yeah. That was a decent hit. Enough for Lindsay to get on by.
Also, Jason Siemens had some sort of problem there. He was back on track. I don't know if he got back on track with his fast repair, but I think he's actually out of the race now, fully retired, so his day is done. He actually had a scrap with Don Day in one of the last few corners.
Really unfortunate end for Siemens Day after looking so promising earlier on. But up ahead now, looking at Danilo Sanfilippo, there is Benjamin Lindsay in behind in his first start, looking at a podium. Maybe even more if he can keep the pace up.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. Danilo, after that mistake that Danilo made, he's right up the road. They're going to have to deal with lap traffic, as Marco Sanfilippo did. A 105 last lap for Marco. Definitely got caught up probably with Xavi Abora with lap traffic, but we might see a battle here for second. We didn't really know what Ben Lindsay's race pace was because he was stuck behind Cody Sandwith for so long. He's got a bit of clean air to work with to get back to Danilo, so we'll see if he can make some inroads here, see if he can make some big time up.
Absolutely. There's the gap on screen right there, one of the closer battles on the track, and then we go back to Cody Sandwith, who's just trying to tag along here. I think Sandwith probably going to try to make an early pit stop as early as he can. He can fix his car back up good as new. Looking at Corey Whiting as well, he's running in 5th. Oh no!
Man.
Just as we were looking at him, goes flying hard into the wall. That was a pretty hard hit, and now here comes Garrido all over him.
Oh, and Garrido
he hits him!
Back of him. It seems like it's all clean. Corey Whiting's car absolutely destroyed, though. The suspension bent on that. He's going to dive into the pits. That could have been bad for Garrido, but it looks like Garrido got away with, if not any damage, just minimal damage there, as now he's going to have to deal with Charlie. No, Charlie Bates is a lap down, so that could have been a big race ender for him. He got away with one.
Yeah, just a lot of unders here for Whiting, too. We'll try to see if we can get an alternate angle of it.
What is going on here? Who is in the lead? Marco Sanfilippo is back in 3rd now.
Oh, wow. That's a twist.
He went into the pits. Ooh,
yeah.
He pit. I wonder if that's by design, because I don't think he has any damage on his car.
I would think that was by design. He came in for 7 seconds. That's about good enough for, fuel and tires. So I think that was a pit stop, very early one. And I'm quite surprised that he would. I would think you want to make a later pit stop at a race like this to have these guys more spread out, because he was almost flying into the tire barriers there.
Yeah, that's an odd one. I'm not sure what that was about. He's actually back to 4th now. I'm not sure what happened. He's back to 4th, so it puts Danilo in the lead. So it's an even bigger battle.
He's back in 7th place actually.
Did he wreck or something? No, he did definitely pit. I don't know. That's an interesting one. I thought you would go deep into this race. I'm trying to see the times. I don't think the drop off was that big. 1019 was his first big lap. He was still running hot laps. Maybe he didn't want to deal with lap traffic or something. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if that's the move, or maybe the fuel doesn't last.
He's got a small pocket between himself and the next car, so maybe he figured maybe he can come in and make up some time. Now this is the battle for the lead of the race here between Danilo Sanfilippo and Benjamin Lindsay here. We'll see what comes out of this battle as you saw Lindsay big lock up into the hairpin.
That could have been very deadly. Sanfilippo almost getting the full package for Ben Lindsay there. That was extremely close. He's top 2 all over each other. Ben Lindsay he's showing some good pace. He got back to Danilo here. So we'll see if he can somehow complete some sort of pass. Lost a bit of time out of that final turn. They've got both clean track ahead of them for a bit. It's a bit of a drive before they get to a 12th place driver in Corey Whiting. So we'll see what they can do here.
There's Corey Whiting for reference. You're just about a straightaway.
I think he also pit. I think he might have also pit as well.
Yeah, he did. I have Marcus Sanfilippo, Corey Whiting to pit for his damage. Charlie Bass and Carl Flemister will come down to pit road this race so far. Everyone else has yet to make their stop as we're closely approaching the halfway point within about 10 laps time.
Yeah, this race is actually going to fly by more than I thought it was. Jason Siemens actually just connected. Maybe he'll try to get back into the car, but I'm really trying to figure out the strategy from Marco, because he's just going to put himself in more traffic as Lindsay really overshot the corner again, starting to lose time here. I I don't know if he's maybe trying a 2-stop, but I don't think there's not a problem with tires, obviously, and I don't think fuel's an issue. I'm just wondering, maybe just really trying to run it to the end with a big undercut.
Yeah, I can't see the 2-stop working. The tire wear is nowhere near significant. I mean, the grip levels seem to be fine. If anything, we just seen guys make mistakes just by straight-up driver error. Not really a lack of grip playing a factor. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see what Marco is up to. This could be the winning strategy. Might not. We'll only really find out in about 30 laps time to really see how this is all going to play out as far as strategy. But still looking at Lindsay and Danilo fight it for the lead. See Lindsay give a punt to a cone into the fencing.
Yeah, right now, Danilo last time by, Danilo ran a 102.055, and Marco Sanfilippo a 224 last time by.
Right,
so
take a look at their best laps as well. For Danilo Sanfilippo, his best lap a 102.055. For Benjamin Lindsay, 102.056.
Yeah, it's very insane right now. As Danilo Sanfilippo actually just ups that at 102.006 on here, so he's definitely still setting a blistering pace, showing that the tires definitely are not wearing much. So
yeah, and Lindsay also put even an even better time, 101.7, or actually 101.8 is really where that rounds up to. So Lindsay putting in a really solid time. One of the only other times as far as best laps are concerned under a minute 2, other than Marco Sanfilippo.
Ben Lindsay, his front wing looks amiss in a way to me. It's definitely not affecting him too much, but it doesn't look as clean as Danilo's does. I don't know if that might be the paint scheme, but it definitely looks a bit dinged up. But regardless, he's able to keep pace with the race leader right now. And I would think this is probably, it's not like we're thinking Marco's definitely going to be the race leader, because he's going to have to deal with Steven Grabowski as Esteverson Oliveira's up the road. He's going to have to deal with some drivers that are not up to his pace. He's going to have to try to pass them. He's going to lose time passing these guys because it is for position. They're not just going to let them by as lap traffic. So I don't know how this is going to work. I think Danilo and Ben Lindsay are really in the cat seat here.
Yeah, these are really the next 3 cars up the road. So here's Carlos Couton. There is Alberto Rodriguez, Corey Whiting, and then finally our race leaders coming through as well. So it's 2-lap cars, and again, it's kind of debating, is it worth coming to the pits now? Because you're looking again at around a 40-some-odd second delta. So if they were both coming to the pits now, that would put them around ahead of Flavio Clavani in 9th place, and I would put them just about where they were, where Marco was when he came in.
And you gotta think, the traffic that Marco's gonna have to deal with, he's gonna have to try to find a way to not get completely held up by Steven Grabowski, Esteverson Oliveira. They're running consistently 103.9. They both ran 103.9s in front of him last time by Marco Sanfilippo, a 103.8. So he's really getting held up by these guys, losing about a second to the leaders a lap if he stays behind these guys for way too long. So he's got to go now.
We'll see if Grassi's willing to let him on by. As far as Grassi is concerned, this is a battle for position on the track, and we'll see if he's going to let by Marco, even though he's on a different strategy. But yeah, as you're saying, it's costing him a lot of time. He needs some clean air. The guys up in front putting times consistently under a minute 2. Marco running close to a minute 4, being stuck in traffic.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big loss in time. I'm just not sure if it's going to work. Steven Grabowski actually does let Marco Sanfilippo by, so Marco back up to 6th. Now he's going to have to get back to Esteverson Oliveira for that 5th position, and then he's got pretty clean track once he gets by this group of drivers. The next closest driver is Charlie Bass, who's a lap down, already past the fountain section.
Yeah, so looking at the time here, as far as the gap is concerned between Marco and everyone else. Let's see, so Marco's currently sitting 30 seconds in behind. His pit lane delta was 39 seconds down on pit road, so Danilo and Benjamin, if they were still to come in now, would be only about, it'd still be 7 seconds off of Marco, from the looks of it. So 7 to 6 seconds off him, so they're still not within range of catching up to them, so this might still work for Marco just yet. We'll have to see as he's trying to work on Oliveira, and Oliveira is having no nonsense with him, because he can't just let Marco on by, because he's got Garowski in behind that he's competing with.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to do. He's not going to just roll over for him. At least I don't think so. Not until he has a decent gap to Grabowski, which he doesn't. It is true. I almost did forget about the lead that Marco had. He was up by a lot. I think he was up by at least 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And the gap is closing, so if anything, these guys up in the lead are just going to have to stretch it as far as they can, or maybe they'll know when Marco gets clear air. That's when you have to pick, because they're just going to have to try to max out the amount of time they gain on Marco here.
I'm curious to see also, speaking of clean air, how Danilo and Benjamin are doing. Again, they were just about to put Carlos Coutinho and company a lap down. Actually, I think they already got past them. Indeed, they already did get past them, so they already dealt with that lap traffic and continue onwards. While meanwhile, looking back at Oliveira and Marco Sanfilippo, still in the same order.
This versus not pulling over, but Marco's trying to pull out all the stops, trying to do anything he can. Gonna try to gear it up for the run out of the hairpin. Oliveira a bit wide, but really compromised Marco's run out. I don't think Marco's gonna have a shot at him here.
Yeah, went for a lunge into the hairpin, which you can do, but just you lose so much speed or coming out of the corner that it's so hard to keep up with that. So now gonna still remain in behind Oliveira, who's now running 1:04 again to the leaders who are running 1:02.5. So they're a second and a half faster a lap. That's significant.
Yeah, it's going to be really big if that keeps up. If he does not get by Esteverson soon, he's going to really lose this lead. He's got to really get going here. He's got to realize the gap he had, what he's losing per lap. He really has to put everything into his mind. He's going to realize soon enough that he's going to lose the lead if this keeps going on.
And now looking like the gap if the leaders come in now, it's going to be around 3 to 4 seconds. So it's going to get really, really close, a lot closer thing than Marco would like. Here comes Danilo Sanfilippo. They're coming up on lap traffic too. But I think the thing is, they're coming up in the lap traffic when they're a lot more spread out. And I think they're also coming up on...
Marco's around. He got dinged from Grabowski. He's around in the hairpin.
Oh, no. Oh, and the track is blocked here. There's Woodstrup, and you see now Marco going to fast toe to that pits. And he's going to be temporarily out of the race, but definitely going to be out of contention for the win. After a drastic turn of events here for a race leader, or a previous race leader.
He really tried to gear something up for out of the hairpin again. He went really wide, and Grabowski just closed in on him way too quickly, and he just went around. I wonder if the leaders even know what happened, if Danilo and Benjamin know.
I'm sure they probably do.
Marco's gone. He's disconnected. He's out.
Yeah, just got tapped by Grabowski there, and then difficult situation of, there's another car, and I guess either out of frustration or just to let Woodstrip on by, ended up retiring out. I want to see if we can get a view of this from Grabowski, and here is Grabowski way in behind. And this is a tough thing to do, because you see Marco, he took a much wider line. Grabowski was not expecting that, and they just kind of found each other by the exit. And that's why that corner is so difficult. You can take it many different ways, and that's actually how one of the sports car races for IMSA that ended up a similar way towards the end with the Porsche and Corvette colliding.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation because the gap's there. You can't just hit the brakes, and it just kind of got turned on. It's just a racing incident, if anything.
So this is officially now the battle for the lead, no matter what, because Marco's out of the race. So it's gonna be on now.
And you know what? That's the speaking of that, Lindsay's gonna undercut him right there. I think he realized finally what happened to Marco Sanfilippo. He's gonna undercut immediately, go for the race lead. I was just about to say. I think that is the good move. That could be the winning move. We'll see. But that's the danger of pitting early like that. He might have wanted to flex his muscles, pit early.
He also has some damage to his wing as well, I think.
That was probably. I think I said it looked dirty earlier. It's probably from that. But that's the issue of pitting early, putting yourself back in traffic with drivers that aren't up to your pace. That's the problem you can have when you do something like that. So I still don't get the pit call. It might have been winning if that didn't happen, but I think it's just too big of a risk to take, and it cost him the win.
We'll see now. Lindsay gonna come back out on track. Is Danilo gonna respond to that here as he's coming on the back straightaway now? I imagine he's gonna have to respond with this really quickly. I don't think he can afford to give Lindsay clean air and put that at risk. He wants to try to keep him in behind. Sanfilippo out come in now, but we'll see what he's gonna be up to here as he comes back into the front straightaway. Indeed, we'll come to the pits.
And you know what? He lost the race at Spain to his teammate. He lost it to Marco in Spain because Marco undercut him, and he didn't respond immediately. Stayed out there a lap or two too long. It let Marco really get away in clean air as Danilo got held up. So this is going to be really big to just immediately respond. We'll see where he comes out. It might be a race off the pit lane.
Indeed, we'll check it out. Meanwhile, Cody Sand, what he's staying at, he's going to inherit the lead of the race. Meanwhile, we look at Danilo Sanfilippo. He's going to be off and away. His pit stop being 7.7 seconds, which is pretty much as it was for Benjamin Lindsay. But where is Lindsay? He's coming on,
through.
roaring down the front straightaway now.
He's got it. He's got it easy. He's going to have a lot of time to work with here. Maybe not as much as I thought. He's going to have about a second or two on him, so it's going to be just about keeping the car on track here.
That was more than I would have thought. I thought they would have been at least almost neck and neck heading to turn 1, but it wasn't even close. And I'm really curious to see why, because here's the interesting stuff too. As I pull the pit graphic back up, look at their pit road time. For Danilo, it was a 39.944. For Benjamin, it was a 39.894.
Oh, and he got really loose there. It must have been about the entry. I thought Danilo had a bit of a soft entry there, while Ben Lindsay really tried to send it in there, trying to get all the time he could. So maybe that was the difference just on pit entry there. We'll have to see. But that could be the difference between winning and losing. And this would be a big win for Ben Lindsay.
Absolutely, and again, still waiting on the leaders to come in. Speaking of which, Cody Samuth, he's coming. Now, Emilio Garrido is going to take the lead of the race temporarily.
We haven't really talked about Garrido too much. He's been silent back there. Might have a... We'll see who gets the podium now. I don't know. It might be Sandwith. He definitely was one of the faster drivers, as Ben Lindsay's going to come out, I believe, second. Sanfilippo third. I think Esteverson and Oliveira might be in a good spot for a podium after all of this. We'll have to see here. But we talked about possible surprises, so we might be seeing some today.
And Oliveira actually almost just got into the wall, into the fountain section, and then in behind him is Steven Grabowski, trying to chase Oliveira on down, and there you see Cody Sandwich finally coming back out. He came back out in 6th place. Should cycle out to around 5th once Emilio comes in for his stop. Actually, correction, Oliveira and Grabowski have also yet to make their stops as well.
I'm kind of surprised Grabowski didn't come in. He must have felt like he just didn't have that much damage from the contact. It was a slight tap. There's really nothing there. No damage whatsoever as a lap card letting Grabowski by there. That's actually Carlos Coteau letting Grabowski by. As Cody Sandwith is going to have to try to hopefully get by Grabowski, or maybe we'll see if Grabowski stays on track trying to hold his position for a bit longer.
The gap for between our two leaders, once it cycles out, that's expanding even more. Benjamin Lindsay, there you can see him coming through the screen there, and Danilo, his lap a lot slower. In fact, he was almost a second slower last lap through from Lindsay. So Lindsay with that clean air really making the most of it.
Yeah, he's going to have to continue to make the most of it, but he better not overshoot any sort of corner. He just has to keep the car on track, and it's likely that he's going to get the victory. Because even if Danilo gets to him, it's going to be hard to pass him. Catching him's one thing, passing him's another, and I think Ben Lindsay's got to keep that in mind if he starts getting caught. He just has to keep the car on track. He's in a really good spot here.
Absolutely here, and looking at the series so far, we only had 3 different winners. Danilo Sanfilippo won at ended up winning at where was it? He won at Suzuka. Took the victory there. Easy victory for him. Marco Sanfilippo got his first win of the season back at Catalunya last week, or last race, I should say. And Ben Fuller has won the most races so far on 3 different occasions of the 5 Grand Prix we've had so far. But now, looking like Benjamin Lindsay, if he can hang on, be the 4th different winner this season in 6 races.
And he's definitely making it known that he is one of the faster drivers on the grid. Another 8/10ths faster than Danilo Sanfilippo that time by, extending the gap to just over 4 seconds. No one even close to them. Cody Sandwith, 9 seconds back of Danilo right there, kind of cruising on his own, looking in line for a potential podium. We'll have to see where Fernandez Garrido comes out, but I think Sandwith is going to be the lucky beneficiary of that the bit of a mistake, I would say, by Marco there.
Yeah, and interesting to see this gap expand more and more as this run has been going on. Danilo, I'm curious if he's kind of accepted his fate of finishing in second now that he lost the lead to Lindsay, and Lindsay to that move to come in that really got him the race. And also, as aggressive as he did come in, he maximized pit road entry, and that gave him the lead, and he's just driving away at this point. So the race now kind of quieting down a little bit. Not a whole lot going. Steven Grabowski's trying to chase down Oliveira just ahead of him for 6th place. And both these drivers have come on down for their pit stop. In fact, the only driver still remaining on the track yet to come in is Emilio Garrido.
He's sticking it out there, getting some laps led. Don't think they count for anything, but it's going to be nice to have a bit of clean air for himself. He's not a driver that's going to be in the lead too often. Might as well relish it while you can. He's actually not too far behind Steven Grabowski, who's in 5th. I know he hasn't made it. Oh, Grabowski's into a wall hard.
Man, every time we ride on board with someone in turn 9, they just absolutely annihilate the wall. You can see that car is completely torn up. I'm not sure if these guys have more than one fast repair, and I'm guessing not by the fact that Grabowski just towed to the pits. But man, a hard impact.
Yeah, that's definitely a race ender for him. That's unfortunate. He was having a good run. Like we said, he was in 5th. I don't think he had pit yet, but he was still online for likely a points finish there. And just like that, it's up in smoke. Yeah,
he did come into the pits. Everyone had at that point, and unfortunately going to end his day violently into the wall. Just a better view.
It's sort of the same thing as Jason Siemens, maybe. It was the exact same spot, the exact same type of accident. Although he didn't like skip over the curb, he just absolutely missed the apex. Yeah, I think he got on the brake. I think he was just being too aggressive in behind Olivier, and again, you gotta consider dirty air being a factor as well. Riding in behind the tailpipes of another car, so unfortunately it's gonna cost him fairly decent spot in 7th place, and that's actually gonna allow Patrick Wittstrup to inherit 7th place. And I think for Wittstrup, if you can continue this on, this will be his highest finish so far this season. Finished 10th on 2 occasions back in Suzuka and also at Catalunya. So having some really good runs as of late for Wittstrup in that 3 machine. Probably Bass, a very quiet race for him. He's just been, he's actually coming to the pits now for his first stop of the day. Speaking of a stop, Greta still not coming down to pit road. Definitely just trying to stick it out for as long as he can and see what happens. All the people having mistakes on track, I don't even know where he's going to come out on track. He might get a top 5 here.
Yeah, I think he definitely will, because we've seen the gap being around 40 seconds for Whiting. I think he might be planning on maybe taking less fuel or something. We'll have to see if he's going to try to pull something to get him some more spots, but he's looking to come ahead of Corey Whiting by around 10 seconds when he comes in for his stop, and will inherit 5th place.
Yeah, we're obviously definitely going to see if everything holds true, which with how this race is going, that might not happen. We might see some first-time point scorers here. Flavio Clavati, for example, I think this is going to be his first points finish, and he's going to get 2 points, I believe. Carlos Cateau.
And something else, sorry to cut you off, something else happened to Steven Grabowski. Came back out on the track, I think, and then coming here into turn 8, hit the tire air is right in front of Flemister. Actually, Flemister hit the wall, and then he spun, and I think that's going to end the day for Grabowski back in 14th.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He was having a really good run. It was unfortunate the incidents he got caught up in. He was really strong there. He's still going to place about 14th. So many cars are dropping out of this race. You might reckon still have a good chance at points here, but definitely not going to be the case for Grabowski. It's unfortunate what happened to him. He's out of this one.
Yeah, looking at Flavio Clavati, I haven't really mentioned him since the start of the race, really, I don't think at all. He's starting 14th, is currently up in 8th, so just inside the points. Also, Carlos Cateau. I don't think Cateau has actually scored points this season so far, so he's looking at getting 2 points to his name in 9th. That's always a fun time getting, just to get yourself in the points, put yourself solidly up the order in the standings.
So also be good points for Patrick Woodstrup. He's only got a few races. He's gotten 10th at Suzuka and in Spain. So this would be a big chunk of points for what he's been going on. 13th to 7th, good climb for him. Would be good points for him.
Up in the lead, it actually looks like Lindsay might catch up to Garrido. As we got a lap car on the way, always got to hold your breath with that. As we saw in the F3 race, but Lindsay going to get on by. But is catching up to Garrido. They can see him right there as the next car ahead. And that's for the lead of the race, so Lindsay might just pass Garrido on track, as he's been out here for a very long time. 3-4 laps since the start of the green, drop of the green for Garrido.
Yeah, we'll see how long the fuel lasts. I'm not sure if he's just going to stretch the fuel to the end. I don't think he can make it on fuel. Also, I don't think that's legal, but you never quite know. We'll see how long he goes. Really, still putting decent pace up. 103.3 is still pretty good for the amount of drivers that are still in this race. I'm trying to check how many. Might be, I think there's about 13 drivers still in this race right now, so as he's actually going to dive into pits right now. So finally, Benjamin Lindsay finally officially into the race lead again.
Absolutely not. You just got to hang on for another 15, 16 laps left to go in the race, and he's got a 9-second gap ahead of Danilo. It's been a really solid drive for Lindsay so far. I'll see if he can keep it up as well. Also, just realized we didn't really take a look at the weather, although I guess there isn't too much to report. Very cool day in California, which is kind of surprising. But air temp 71, track temp 77, so you can definitely see these guys have had quite a bit of grip to work with. I'm sure they're happy that it wasn't something like 100 degrees. That would have been a very hard race for them. Oh, never mind. I keep speaking too soon for these guys, because wow.
You just never know.
We need a compilation for me of me talking about drivers and then the opposite happening, because
Both
wow.
doing the same thing. That was a great save, but you kind of don't need to push it that hard, Ben. Just back it down a little bit, please.
Almost the end of his day right there.
That was way too close. That was a big slide. You usually don't get away with that. I was surprised he also didn't overcorrect it back to the other direction. My goodness.
Yeah, left some tire tracks as well on the track, but man, that was a hard stopper right there.
Well, Emilio Fernandez Garrido, I think he is going to settle. I think he's going to settle in that 4th position. Corey Whiting's actually, and he might have gotten just more damage. He's back in 7th. Already had issues. Corey Whiting up pit road. Clavati's going to take over 7th, so even better points, I believe, right here. Fernandez Garrido did come out in 4th, so even better than I thought. He's going to get good points now.
And he's got 33 seconds back to Olivier. He was all along the opposite side of the track. Massive gaps between some of these guys in the order. That being said, Patrick Woodstrup, he's actually closing in on Olivier.
Yeah, we'll see if Woodstrup can get there. It'll be, like we said, it'll be good points for Woodstrup. I know he was 7th.
Yeah, he moved up to 6th because Whiting came into the pits.
Yeah, it was Whiting because he had the mistake. He had some sort of crash. The front wing was really beat up again. Trying to see where it happened. I think in the fountain section, possibly. No, he actually overshot turn 1 by a mile and got damaged there. He actually went up and over into turn number 1.
Oh, was this a lap ago or was this a while ago?
Lap 34. He actually went into the fence, but he was able to drive the car back. Cost himself a lot of few positions, though.
That's unfortunate to hear from Woodstrup. Sorry, that was not Woodstrup. Whiting, you said that was, right?
Yeah, Corey Whiting. That was odd. He, like, completely missed turn 1. He hit the tire barrier, which sent him into the fence. He didn't actually flip, but he got air. It really destroyed the car, but he's able to keep it going. But he might, I don't know, he might have lost himself points. I'm not sure where he's going to come out here.
He's actually come back out. Whiting has come back out in 9th place. So he will have 2 points to his name, and he's got, well, only 5 seconds, really, between himself and that next place spot. There's Alberto Rodriguez holding on to that 10th place spot for Hit Racing, if I believe is the team he is driving for. And yeah. Not sure if it's Hit Racing or HAT Racing.
It works either way, I would say. So Charlie Bass, he's looking to get some points. He hasn't scored points since Suzuka, so this would be a pretty good result for him. He's only got 8 points on the year, trying to get some more here. Also, Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez, he's 2 laps down, but all of a sudden, he's in a... Actually, Charlie Bass just dropped out of a points. He might have just hit, not quite sure, so he's 12th. Put Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez into that final point for now. I don't believe he's gotten any points. No, he has not. Those would be the first points for Hit Racing, by the way, if he did stay in them.
That would move them up to, let's see.
Carry the
13th. 13th in the standings.
That's good quick maths right there. I keep trying to look for Ben Lindsay, because after that slide, you really never know.
Yeah, you never know. Again, he's got 12 seconds to bleed off if he needs to. Yeah, he's going to bleed off. He's still running at almost a second a lap faster than Danilo a lap. So it's been a tough hill for him to overcome. Also want to check back in on Woodstrup and Olivier. This started closing quite a bit. Woodstrup not done yet. He's looking for a top 5.
Yeah, Oliveira's had a decent run today, 9th to 5th. Really good charge for him to get into the top 5. He's a lap down, but still a great result right now, trying to hold off Patrick Woodstrup. Woodstrup, I think, is one of those guys who has the pace there. He just can't piece it together every now and then. Just every now and then where he just makes that little mistake, that little mess up maybe in qualifying or the race that he just can't get through the field. I think Woodstrup's a better driver than a lot of people give credit for.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, as you mentioned earlier, only 2 10th place finishes to his name so far, but can get some pretty solid points for that team. Siemens Privateer. Give them some solid points to their name.
Lindsay's really lighting up the rear tires out of that hairpin. It wasn't as big of a slide, but once again, he's scaring me.
Have to trail down 13 seconds. Or sorry, just got to continue that lead of 13 seconds, and he'll be the winner Just about 11 laps time.
Olivier actually, the gap's kind of expanding as Charlie Bates is actually in pit road now. He's had an issue. He has front wing damage. He got into one of the long right-handers. He same right-hander that Jason Siemens, the same right-hander Jason Siemens wrecked in. He didn't wreck in the same spot. He just completely overshot the corner. So Charlie Bates, not out of the race, but definitely out of running for the points.
Yeah, he's come down pit road. I think he's pulled into his stall. Might just call it a day. There's nothing really much for him to gain at this point. You look at Benjamin Lindsay working past a lap car. I want to say that's Whiting.
Yep.
Whiting.
It's 2 down now. As Whiting almost spins out of the final corner. Think about that. He's 9th place. Corey Whiting's in line for 2 points still, and he's 2 laps down. Imagine that.
Yeah, it is really crazy, the disparity in pace between the guys up in the front and the guys around just even the midfield. Not even really towards the back. Only the top 4 guys are on the lead lap. I think until you do the short lap time, and also again, it takes a lot of skill to be fast around here. And we're really seeing that pace disparity shine through. Looking back at the battle for 5th place, you can see Woodstrup trying to chase down Oliveira here for 5th place. He's been hounding the back of him, but now he's kind of in that bubble around 6 to 8 tenths of a second, and behind that dirty air, it's starting to hurt.
Yeah, it's really starting to take a toll on him. He actually had a decent turn 1, but that's about it. Just can't seem to get within that bubble. It's going to probably take a mistake from Oliveira here for Woodstrup to get within that bubble to have a real shot at that 5th position right now. Trying to look at any other battles that might be happening. Clavati's all by himself in 7th. Would be a great result for him and Carlos Cato. Cato not too far behind, but not, I wouldn't say within striking distance yet. A few seconds behind Corey Whiting and Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez on their own right now.
Working on through. It's always this final corner. I feel like people have just not been maximizing a lot. As Olivier, he got a decent run out there. Really, again, this is what we're talking about right there. Look how far he shot off compared to Woodstrup, who's not really able to get any toe at all, as he's pretty far in behind.
Yeah, it's sort of like a short track with a couple of corners. You can use different lines through that final corner. You can go straight to the wall right next to that curbing, or you can go wide and really maximize that exit. It's kind of interesting to see. It's a really slow corner, but we're seeing a lot of drivers go for absolutely completely different cornering speeds, completely different apexes. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a lonely action, at least between these two guys. I'll keep an eye on this, but also I'll give you the chance to hear the sound of these roaring V8 engines. So we'll do a little bit of a sound search here for a lap or two. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a little bit. Just take a little bit of a breather here, because who knows what might happen here in these last few laps. We're back here at Long Beach. Here, just a little bit of you can enjoy the sounds of these V8 engines, and man, you know, every time. And I think the V6s now, at least nowadays, they sound pretty decent. But man, it doesn't really beat the V8s or the V10s.
No, it definitely doesn't beat those. Those V10 sounds are just absolutely. I mean, you know what, but. Yeah, but I love the sound of the F1 cars today. I'm definitely in a minority on that, but I like how they sound today. Speaking of sounding, we loving the sounds there for a moment. I was not loving the sound of the tires just screeching on Ben Lindsay's car. He had another moment in one of the corners where he almost lost everything. He is really pushing when he really doesn't need to with almost a 15 to 20 second lead.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's maybe pushing for fastest lap. I mean, that's the only thing I could think he's trying to do, and he actually does hold on to that. He was able to run a 1 minute 1.5. That is the fastest lap of the race. So I am going to try to look, because I know the only other driver that could have really beaten him was Marcus Sanfilippo or Danilo.
Marco ran a 1:16, so he beat Marco by a tenth, and Danilo, not really, the 1:18, definitely not close.
I see some lap cars up ahead of Lindsay. Right on board with him as he's going to work on through with them. I want is either Whiting or
it is Whiting going down a third lap in 11th place, and he's gonna be able to get out of his way, almost into a tire barrier there. He keeps it going, and next up is the other another teammate, similar paint scheme, Carlos Cato, who's about to go second lap down from 8th position. As Alberto Gonzalez Rodriguez, he was 9th, now he was 10th, he's up to 9th. That puts Carl Flemister up into that final points position.
Yeah, how about that for Flemister as well? You know, you talk about him. This is going to be admin for the series. It's going to be his first points-paying finish this season, so good for him. We'll see if he can keep it up again. It's not completely over just yet, though he does have 27 seconds back to Corey Whiting. This is the next driver that could usurp him from that spot. Still that battle going on for 5th place as well, but no inroads for Woodstrup. He's actually started to fall a little bit off of Oliveira.
By the way, that was because Corey Whiting actually did wreck. He did wreck the car in one of those not the final corner, but one of those middle of the track corners. So he actually wrecked. He pit. He's got a new car, so that's why he's back down to 11th, trying to chase down that final point from Carl Flemister.
And it's been a unfortunate day for Whiting. He had a chance of getting some solid points because he started in 4th place, but now out of the points in 11th. And as we mentioned earlier, doesn't really have a shot to chase down Flemister unless he makes a mistake to get a point to Whiting's name. So he's going to have to kind of settle in here for the end. Also, in one battle, it looks like it might not be done just yet. Last lap through, we can see Emilio Garrido went almost over 2 seconds faster than Cody Sandwith, who I imagine made a mistake. And he's now starting to fall into the clutches of the other guys in behind, and specifically Emilio Garrido, who's trying to get at him here in these last few closing laps.
I think Sandwith might have been caught up in lap traffic, not quite sure. It looks like he might be widening that gap a little bit, but Fernandez Garrido does have the tire advantage. Pit obviously stretched the fuel as far as he could go. He was not faster than Sandwith last time by, so I think it might have been more lap traffic than anything for Sandwith. As that got a battle for 3rd, that battle for that final podium spot brewing, and the battle for 4th is not gone just yet, as those guys are still battling back there. As for 5th, that battle for 5th is still going on, as Oliveira and Woodchup basically at the same difference that we saw them earlier. They haven't separated a bit.
Riding overboard with Woodstrup again. Closest battle on the track. Not much else to report from other than really this battle. Just flying over the curbs here at such a high rate of speed. Now barreling down the front straightaway for Woodstrup yet again. Still trying to chase down Olivier. You're going to have to kind of hope that he makes a mistake. Also keeping an eye as Sandwith had a bit of a lock up into the final corner. Rito's starting to breathe out his neck a little bit. The gap now 1 second between them.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think Emilio really just needs a mistake from Sandwith to get in that striking distance to try to make the move. I don't know if he's going to get there any other way. Even though he has the fresh tires, I just don't think that's going to be enough unless he needs some sort of mistake to happen, as Ben Lindsay's coming to 2 to go here.
Poor Benjamin Lindsay's been a fantastic race run. Oh, some full contact. Oh yeah, it just went away as Sandwith hit the wall. Garrido got the spot. I thought I heard something and I was right.
Trying to see which corner that was in. I wonder if it was at the fountain. I'm not quite sure.
It was a
no, it was the turn after the fountain. He killed the wall.
This is Sandwith. You see him got very close to the exit of the fountain right there, but here now the right-hander after just completely missed the corner. Wow, Garrido almost went flying into him.
Bass had a big crash actually. Charlie Bass had a big contact with Javi Abora racing for 12th. Both those drivers wrecked before they even got into turn number 1.
You can see right there is Garrido had to get deep on the brakes to avoid getting into contact with Sandwith, but he will take that final spot on the podium. Talking about a surprise finish, there it is right there with Garrido. Coming out of the ashes after starting in 5th, going to move up to 3rd here, and if he can hang on for another 2 laps, he will keep it.
Meanwhile, Cody Sandwith did have to pit, so he's going to roll down the order as the first, and Oliveira might be able to get that 4th position as Cody Sandwith's going to go a lap down, but Ben Lindsay is finally coming to the final lap.
He's waiting to see this lap for a very long time. He's got 14 seconds, more than enough time. Really, but I think that's not going to be enough for Lindsay. I think he's still going to push it. I hope that doesn't come back and backfire on him, because he's less than a lap away from taking a win in his very first start. How about that, too?
And he's definitely showing his speed. When he got the pole from those San Filippo guys, he kind of showed them that, hey, I'm there, I'm here, I'm ready to race y'all, I'm ready to beat y'all. He showed it today. Definitely didn't have the best start, but he definitely had the best strategy. He had the bit of a luck with Marco Sanfilippo wrecking out. He had the perfect undercut strategy to get that lead away, and he just drove away to a huge lead once he finally got the lead. And he is just cruising right now. He's had some mishaps, but he's kept the car under him, and he's gonna come home a winner and a well-deserved victory. Yeah,
and through the final corner here, the last major trouble spot gonna come out through. Accelerate here was a pretty poor start for Lindsay, but it's not gonna matter as he comes home and he will take home the win. Grand Prix of Long Beach. Fantastic drive for the 81 machine. It's the first one also for TNT Racing. And moving on back to 2nd place, we find Danilo Sanfilippo will have to settle for the 2nd step on the podium after what could have been that team could have taken home a win, but Marco Sanfilippo, big mistake for him, took him out of contention. Then meanwhile, we move on to the only other driver on the lead lap, and that is Emilio Garrido. And he's going to be happy and celebrating as he will take the final step of the podium. It's really impossible for anyone else to take it at this point. Comes out of the final corner. He will finish in 3rd. A great run for him. Cody Sandwith got to settle for 4th place. Peterson Olivier got to settle for 5th here as all the drivers complete their runs across the finish line. We'll take a look at your results here as well. Benjamin Lindsay, great run for him. Danilo Sanfilippo in 2nd. Emilio Garrido 3rd. Sandwith 4th. Olivier 5th. Woodstrup in 6th. Flavio Clavati 7th. Carlos Couton in 8th. Alberto Rodriguez in 9th. And Carl Flemister getting the final points paying spot in 10th place.
Yeah, it's a really good job by all those guys. Not just Ben Lindsay to get the win in his debut, but look at all the guys at the bottom of the top 10 getting their first points of the season. Flavio Clavati, Carlos Cato getting good points there.
Moving on to the 2nd page, too, all the guys that just missed out on some solid points. Corey Whiting, a lot of trouble for him today. Bassa just wasn't really in it. Had some decent runs here and there, but couldn't quite get it at the end. Davio Bora also had a shot a little bit earlier in the race as well, but literally a lot of the guys outside, especially past the 14th place, a lot of them are running really well, but just big mistakes took them out of contention.
Yeah, definitely, obviously, Marco Sanfilippo might have had the race won, definitely probably had a podium, go up in smoke there. Steven Grabowski had good points on the way. Jason Siemens, we know the speed he has, but we know the mistakes he makes as well. A lot of mistakes. We kind of expected a lot of mistakes today, and that definitely held true.
And with that, we're going to cut to a break here. We'll grab your top 3 drivers to interview, and we'll be right back in a little bit. And we're back live here with your winner of the Grand Prix of Long Beach, Benjamin Lindsay. And Benjamin, you did a fantastic job this race, although it didn't quite start off to that at the initial start of the race.
Yeah, that was an absolutely miserable start. I just spun the tires, and I kind of figured those guys were fast, and they would push, but yeah, a completely miserable start as I spun.
Yeah, but even besides that, I also wanted to know how early did you realize that Marco ended up crashing out of the race?
I saw it on the relative that he'd slowed down, and I saw he pitted early. I really didn't know what to make of it. So here you don't have a whole lot of time to be heads up looking at what's going on. You just have to be heads down, because every turn feels like Sebring, and every exit is a wall of champions. So you really can't pay attention as much as you normally would to everybody's position. So it was all just heads down for me.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic run for you as well. Can we expect to see you back in the series for more races?
I certainly hope so. This was a lot of fun. I some good friends here, and obviously this is an old favorite of mine, this car. So yes, I plan to do these, time permitting, obviously.
All right, well, that was your winner, Benjamin Lindsay, in the 81 machine. Benjamin, if we do see you back, hope to potentially see you back in Victory Lane, because it was a fantastic race.
Yeah, hey, thanks a bunch, and also thanks to Charlie for the assist, getting me in there, and GTR Simulator, our guys doing some good work. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Benjamin, we'll hopefully see you next race.
Sounds good to me.
With that, I think that's going to wrap up interviews. Don't really have no one else has decided to show up to talk to me on the podium. With that, though, that was still a great race to watch for the race winner, especially between Lindsay and Danilo. And even Marco as well. It was interesting the strategy in the first half, but Lindsay kind of just getting out there and showing him how it's done.
Yeah, it was a really great race to watch. The only thing that didn't go to what I was expecting is a pileup. I thought we'd see a big pileup. We didn't really see that, but we saw a lot of mistakes that we assumed that we would see. The mistake by Marco, the mistake on track, maybe off track as well. The strategy play wasn't there. Jason Seaman, Stephen Grabowski, so many other drivers, probably over half the field making some sort of mistake. Even a leader, Ben Lindsay, making mistakes here and there, but he just had the pace advantage over everyone to get the job done. Just way faster than Nilo at the end. A well-deserved win, and it may be a sign of things to come for the rest of the season.
Speaking of the rest of the season, we're still far from over. The next round of the season is going to take us to the Nürburgring GP track, which again has coincidentally also just been signed on for actual F1 season. I forgot when they're actually going to the Nürburgring, but they're going to it at some point. So if you're interested in this series, stay tuned to that. And then we had to Zandvoort, Silverstone, Montreal, Detroit, which is the second street circuit race of the season. Then to Bathurst, Coda, Imola, and then ending the season out at Spa. So interesting tracks coming up on the schedule for this group of drivers, but also on Sim TV. Next race we have is tomorrow. Actually, no, later tonight. It's a special stream considering the fact that it's going to be the Outsiders Racing League at Road America, and coincidentally, Kyle's going to be streaming the race from Road America in the booth. So he's going to have a camera and a whole bunch of things set up. So he's actually going to be streaming inside the media center from Road America.
He should bring the Virtuo booth back for that.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to do that. He might do something. I think he's just going to probably keep it in the actual track and behind him. But yeah, that was a failed experiment, is what that was.
Other people liked it though.
Because we did it, and we're like, this is all right.
He's embarrassed about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, we wanted to try something and it didn't really work out, so we're just like, yeah, we'll just not do this from here on out. It was a failed experiment, but yeah, now Kyle gets to actually stream from Road America, so it's been interesting for him. That's exactly why he wasn't here for this race, so if you're definitely interested in seeing how that turns out, stay tuned to that race, which starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want some more road racing action, tomorrow afternoon is going to be the SRF weekend, whereas the SEA runoffs. I forgot what they actually called it, but it's a special event for their Spec Racer Ford season after their season just came to an end last week at the Phoenix Road Course. This race is taking place on the Daytona Road Course, but the NASCAR version with the added front stretch chicane, so it should be interesting stuff. But for now and for the Formula I season, my name is Finn Kuna here with Connor Hornley, wrapping up the broadcast here from Long Beach. Thank you for watching.